AMZ Stars, best quality podcast for German market.
This episode is going to be in English because I will probably point a few non-German customers to this episode, because this is about how to set up an FBA-based company, whether you want to start one or whether you want to acquire an existing business. There are certain tax considerations that you need to keep in mind, and for this I have invited Christoph from FBA Hero. Christoph, can you briefly give us a little background, what you're doing and how you're helping Amazon sellers with their VAT problems?
Sure, no problem. So hello everybody and welcome. My name is Christoph. I'm co-founder of FBA Hero. So we are helping a lot of European as well as non-European companies with their expansion in Europe on all the different marketplaces. Especially our main topic is handling all the VAT issues and VAT problems, as well as the overall administrative topics. And yeah, that's the reason why we're speaking today, because this is one of the main factors why what people have problems with when they are going to expand to Europe.
Exactly. So there's one popular believe that you need to set up a corporation. Most people choose UK to set up a corporation. Can we start with that? Do you think it's necessary to have a legal entity and or a corporation in the EU to start selling in the EU?
Yeah, so as you say, it's a common belief, and actually it is not fully necessary. There might be reasons when it is necessary, which is something we are going to talk about today. But overall, I can quickly say, no, it is not necessary. If you're planning to expand to Europe or expand within Europe, you do not need to have a European company, neither in the UK nor in any other European country.
Okay, so that's already good to know, but then there are certain things that you do need to have. So what comes to mind to me is a VAT number and an EORI number. Is that true? Or do I need anything in addition to those two numbers?
Absolutely correct. You're totally right. Those are the two main numbers you need to have. Basically, those are the numbers everybody needs to have, especially when they are storing in a particular country, which is something you automatically do when you use the Amazon FBA services, or when you skip a certain limit in sales. So this is kind of, if we are, let's say, step by step, look at what is needed in Europe, maybe we start with the VAT number. So a VAT number is basically the number at which you're registered at the government, like a tax ID, something similar to it. And with this number, you are basically telling authorities about your turnover and your imports and anything similar to that. And with the VAT number, you also have to pay your VAT. And basically, for two reasons, you need a VAT number in a particular country, because something that is very important, a question that we get asked many times as well, Europe is not a country, right? So Europe is a bunch of 28 different countries, and each of them has a different VAT number and a little different VAT rules. So that means it might be that you need multiple VAT numbers. It's a little bit to compare with the sales tax in the US, where every different state, every country, every region has its different rules when it comes to sales tax, when it comes to paying sales tax. So overall, what you can say is basically that whenever you're storing in a particular country, so for example, using the Amazon FBA service in Germany, you need to have a VAT number from the first day.
Okay.
This is why you need a VAT number.
Yeah, so then there's also a popular belief that there's a threshold and you only need it once you exceed that threshold. But now you're saying once you store inventory, you need it from the very first day. So what is true? Like, is there a threshold or is there no threshold?
Both is true. So let's say, as I said, right now, rule number one basically tells you if you store in a country, you need to have a VAT number. Rule number 2, just in order to complete this part, is whenever you skip a certain sales limit to a different country. So for example, you're storing your goods in Germany, you got a German VAT number, and from Germany you're planning or you're selling to customers in the UK. Whenever you skip the so-called distance selling threshold limit to that country, to the UK, then the UK government says, hey, from that day onwards, you also have to pay VAT in the UK, and you have to register in the UK for a VAT number as well. So, to your question, this is just the part where it really, let's say, gets a little tricky, is when you know you need to have a VAT number. Then the next question is, how do I get a VAT number, right? And there is again 2 options. The one option is by using a so-called fiscal agent or fiscal representative. This is the part we are organizing. We can talk about it later. And the second option is to found a local company. And when you're founding a local company, and this is something that is you're right about this, you do have a so-called local threshold. This is not to be, nothing to compare with the distance selling threshold, but the local threshold basically allows you to not pay VAT for a certain amount of sales in that country you're storing. So if you have a company, it could be that you're storing in Germany with a German company, right? And you do not need to have a VAT number from the first day of sales.
Okay. So that threshold, just to be clear, is comparatively low. I mean, I think it's 17,000 or something.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So probably, I mean, like if you are serious about selling on Amazon, you probably will hit this number within 1 month, because this is not profit. This is just turnover, and typically you have high turnover and not that much of a margin. So yeah, you pretty much will exceed that limit very, very soon. And also, setting up a corporation doesn't make things easier, because then you're liable to paying corporate taxes. So in the end, it's questionable whether it will save you money. Just because you don't pay VAT, it just means you pay other taxes, and it's also a very short-term strategy, because once you exceed that threshold, you are liable to paying VAT. Is that correct? Did I summarize that correctly?
That is absolutely correct, because in Germany, this limit, as you say, is 17,000 euros, right? In the UK, there is a much higher limit of 85,000 euros, which is a number, you might survive for some months in turnover. But for a very simple reason, and this is actually the main argument people are bringing up when they say, isn't founding a UK company worth it because I save paying VAT? But this is just one side of it, Save paying VAT is totally right until you hit that limit, right? But what does it mean as well? As you said it correctly, it means you have to set up a company. You have to have a bank account, a local address, an attorney. You have to make your yearly statements. You have to pay corporate taxes you normally would not have to pay. And this is also a very important topic, if you do not pay any VAT, so if you're not registered for VAT, it also means that you're not able to reclaim your VAT on any import. So that means on the one side you have more costs because, for example, the Amazon commission of 15% on average per sale, it's a net commission. That means Amazon will put 20% on top, meaning that you pay 18%. FBA fees get 20% more expensive. Import VAT, you cannot reclaim it. So overall, if you just do the maths, you will see very, very soon that maybe in the first 1, 2, 3 months, you might save a little money. And we talk about a few hundred euros you might save. But the day you're skipping this 85,000 euros limit, which is something I guess everybody who wants to do this business professional, even this number he will hit very, very soon. And then you actually make losses with it. So then this option of founding a company does not give you any advantage. And I think, as you probably know, or as most of the people out there know, moving or switching accounts, seller central ownerships afterwards is something that is really complex.
Yeah, that's actually more complicated than it is in the US. That's also something that people sometimes underestimate, but that would be like a topic for a different podcast because that's also like it's not the same as it is in the US. It's slightly different, the process. Okay, so now we have the VAT ID, and the minimum requirement is that you need to have it for one country, right? So you do not need to have it for all countries, but you can sell to all countries. So how do I do this? How do I get away with just having one VAT number and sell in all European countries?
Yeah, so the simplest thing you can do is basically you decide for one country where you register for your Seller Central account, and this is the country you're storing in. Let's take Germany as the biggest market. That probably makes sense to start storing your inventory in, because then your inventory is kind of the closest to your customer. But what you can do, and what I recommend to do, is to translate your listings and publish them on all the other marketplaces of Amazon as well. UK, France, Italy, Spain, etc. Because whenever someone from the UK is then ordering your product, it will be shipped from Germany. You have a little higher FBA fees, but overall it is worth it to see how the market is going. And when you see it is doing well, then you might be able to decide in the future, okay, let's move my inventory to the UK, let's register for a UK number, VAT number, because you're storing there, and let's fulfill it to the UK customers locally.
Yeah, so that's good to know that you can start with just one number, but you can already sell on all European marketplaces up until you reach that threshold. But once you do reach that threshold for those countries, then it's kind of a luxury problem, because then you do have the means to pay for the additional VAT IDs. Also, I want to point out that Germany has the lowest VAT tax for all countries where Amazon has a marketplace in Europe. So, and also Germany is the largest marketplace. It's actually larger than the UK. And if you read the Amazon annual report, you will see that it lists the US, and then it lists Germany, and all other European countries are combined as rest of world. So that just gives you an idea how big the German market is in comparison to the other European marketplaces. I mean, UK is also quite big, but like France, Italy, Spain, they're almost tiny, you can say, compared to Germany. So it does, in many cases, make sense to store in Germany. Then there's something unique about Germany. I do want to touch on that as well. So Amazon gives you a little discount if you agree to store inventory in Poland and in the Czech Republic. Can you talk a little bit about that? Do you? I mean, obviously you store inventory, so you need a VAT number. Is that something you would recommend for sellers to do? Is that useful, or is there a certain limit up until which it becomes useful? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Sure, no problem. So Amazon is in Germany, as you say. This is really something particular for the German market. Amazon has built warehouses close to the German border in Poland and Czech Republic, probably or mainly because of labor costs that are lower in those Eastern European countries. And Amazon does not have any marketplace in Poland or Czech Republic. They just use those warehouses to mainly fulfill to the German customers. And because it's another country and you actually are storing, or you might be storing in that country, you're totally right. You have to register for a VAT number as well. So now it happened that Amazon was kind of forcing sellers to store in those countries, because, why would you build a warehouse and nobody is storing in? And they did it by giving you a penalty fee of 50 cents per shipment if you're not allowing Amazon to store in those countries. So now it's quite, let's say, simple to do the maths and calculate, okay, when is it worth to allow Amazon to store in that country? You just simply have to compare the fees of registration in those two countries, plus the, monthly additional fees for the filings and for the VAT returns, in comparison to the 50 cents per unit you're paying more if you just store in Germany locally. So roundabout, you can say roundabout 500 units, which is more or less 250 euros. You have to sell every month, so 500 units every month, so that it gets worth it to allow Amazon to store locally in Poland and Czech Republic as well, and save those 50 cents, but in comparison, get registered in Poland and Czech Republic for VAT.
Okay, so yeah, and also like if you're just starting out, you don't need to do this, but once you're shipping more than 250 units a month, then it becomes worthwhile. So that's interesting.
More than 500 units, 250 euros in savings. So 500 multiplied with 50 cents.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. And also interestingly, they have higher VAT rates, those countries, higher than Germany. But which VAT do you pay? Do you pay the German VAT, or do you pay the higher Polish or VAT rate, if, for instance, if it's shipped from Poland?
Yeah. When you ship it from, let's take Poland, which has a rate of 23% in comparison to Germany, 19%. So that's 4% in difference. When you fulfill from Poland to a customer in Germany, it is possible to pay German VAT 19%. So the VAT rate itself does not really have any impact on how much you actually have to pay.
Because you already are VAT registered in Germany, and that's what you absolutely need to have one country. So, for instance, you VAT register in Germany, and then once you ship a product from Poland to Germany, you can opt to pay the German VAT because you have a German VAT number.
Exactly. So this is something that's just an additional form you have to fill at the registration, which is something we kind of automatically do because, who likes to pay 23% if he could pay 19%? But yes, you do need to have a German VAT number for it. But that's overall the first decision to store in Germany and get the German VAT.
Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the numbers. So we forgot one thing. What is the EORI number?
Yes. Very quickly. So the EORI number is an importer's number. Basically what it does is it connects your import to your VAT number. Why is that important? Because whenever you import something to Europe, you actually have to pay import VAT. And this import VAT is fully reclaimable if you have a VAT number. But the government needs to connect this import with the VAT number in order to understand, those two things belong to each other. So the EORI number is really something very simple. It's an European-wide number, so you can apply for it in, let's say, Germany, and you can use it if you later on import to the UK or to France or to Spain or to any other country in Europe as well.
Okay, and do you need to have a representative or anything to apply for that number, or could any foreign entity, foreign corporation apply for that number?
Basically, anybody can apply for it, and in most cases, you just apply for it within the registration process of the VAT number. And really, it's just another form to be filled, and that's it.
Okay, great. All right. So now we understand, what you need to do. So let's do the math. How much? So you offer that service. So what is the minimum solution that you offer so that people can start selling in Europe?
Yeah. So the solutions we offer are depending on the amount of countries a seller is deciding for. So that means the more countries you need us to handle your VAT and the registration and everything else, the cheaper it gets per country. So the price for one particular country, let's say Germany in that case, would be 147 euros a month. For, why is it per month, by the way? Because you have to do the monthly calculations and monthly VAT returns to the government. So the VAT is not something you just apply for in the beginning for a number and that's it. It's something that you have to do on a regular basis. It's like regular accounting that has to be done. And the registration itself is a free service we are offering. So in this case, so that the minimum fees, the minimum administration costs in order to expand to Europe would be 147 euros every month.
Okay, and how much is it to add the Northern European fulfillment network, so that is Poland and Czech Republic?
Poland and Czech Republic, we have, so in this case, we would have 147 for Germany, and then you have two more countries, which means it gets cheaper per country, and then you're about 127 per country. So Germany, Poland, and Czech Republic. So altogether, you're about at 360 euros, more or less.
Okay. And how much is a full solution? So if I want to register in every European country where Amazon has a marketplace and allow Amazon to freely move the inventory, which means that you do save money on fulfilling the orders, but you pay money to your company. So how much would that cost?
Yeah. So in this case, Amazon is currently storing in 7 different countries, so the 5 marketplaces plus Poland and Czech Republic. As you said correctly, Amazon is then moving inventory freely and for free as well. So that means you still ship all your goods to, let's say, a German warehouse, and they distribute it to wherever they think it is the closest to the customer in the future. So that means you always pay the lowest the lowest shipping fees, as well as it has an impact on your bestseller rank and your ranking overall. Because whenever Amazon saves money, it's most likely that they are going to push you compared to someone else where they have higher fees. In this example, you would need 7 VAT numbers, and that would mean 7 times 99 euros. So 99 euros per month per country is kind of the lowest fee you can get to in our service, where we cover everything in that country, from the registration to the filings to the returns to the governmental communication. Like, it's basically an all-inclusive service.
Okay, and when does that make sense? How many products do you need to ship so that it's worthwhile to do that full solution?
That's very hard to calculate because it depends on the size of your FBA product, so basically on the fees. Normally you can save about 1/3 in shipping fees if you fulfill locally. So the question is now, what is 1/3 in your example? But mostly we tell people if you ship about 800 to 1,000 units a month, you should, let's say, consider this. And we do have an Excel template that people can use in order to calculate their fees, just to see how much do they save in comparison to how much do they pay for the more administration, or for paying a little more in VAT, which is also having an impact because, as you said in the beginning, Germany with 19% has the lowest tax rate. Other countries have all between 20, 21, 22%.
Yeah, so that is 800 units that are not fulfilled. That are not shipped to Germany, right? So that is for the other marketplaces. Is that right?
Yeah, that's also a factor. So I would say 800 to 1,000 units in total.
Okay.
Because it also has an impact on Germany. And yes, if you would only fulfill to Germans, even if you list internationally, so if you list your products on all marketplaces, then probably 1,000 units, it would not make sense to do it internationally. But if it's like 50-50, 50% Germany and 50% all the other European countries, then I think it's about 800 units where it should get worth it, It's always depending what people, why they take these decisions, because we have a lot of bigger sellers that are expanding from the US to Europe. And for example, they are doing pan-EU from the first day, because they say, okay, for us, it's an investment into the European market. And therefore they don't care about let's say a national growth in Germany or in Europe.
Right. Okay. And also an additional benefit is that once Amazon stores your inventory locally, they also ship it to the customer faster. So if you fulfill from Germany and say you ship to Spain, you don't have next day or even same day delivery. It takes 2 days. So
which gives the customer the prime advantages. Yes.
Yeah, so they have Prime either way. Like even if you store in Germany and you ship to Spain, it's either way it's Prime, but it just takes an additional day. So you just have like a disadvantage compared to somebody who stores in Spain, because people would take that into consideration if they get the product tomorrow or if they get it in 2 days.
Absolutely right. And this is overall, less shipping fees, faster delivery, better conversion rate. All of this together is basically helping your bestseller rank or your listing to compete against others that are selling locally.
Yeah, and also I made an observation because I do the Northern European Fulfillment Network, and to me, I sell most products on Sundays, and I think the reason is that the warehouses in Germany they're closed on Sundays, but not so in Poland. They work on Sundays, so that means if somebody buys my product on a Sunday and it ships from Poland, it gets delivered on Monday. But if I would only store in Germany, it would be shipped on Tuesday. So I have an advantage over sellers that do not store inventory in Poland. So that's what I think is the reason why I sell more products on Sunday, because I just ship a day faster than other sellers that didn't opt in to the Northern European Fulfillment Network. That's
very interesting. I didn't know that.
All right. Then I think I covered everything. So is there anything I forgot?
Maybe just one thing that I get asked also many times is that how often do you have to file those VAT returns? This is depending on your turnover and on the country. So in most countries, it's on a monthly basis. So there is monthly returns to be made and monthly VAT to be paid to the government. And in some countries like the UK, for example, it's on a quarterly basis, but that does not mean that it's less work. It just means that you have to summarize 3 months into one period and then submit it to the government.
Okay. So let's say somebody has listened to that and they think, okay, I do want to start selling in Europe. What's the best way to get in contact with you? Or is there a way to have a conversation in case I didn't ask a question and you have a specific question? What's the best way to get in contact with you?
So the best way would be just to simply visit our website, fba-hero.com. And we do offer free consultation in order to look at every case individually, really looking at, okay, what country makes the most sense, what particular needs are important in that country. So you can just simply book a 30-minute consultation with me or one of my colleagues. And from there, we can answer all your questions, and then let's see whatever decisions and whatever problems we can help to solve.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Timo. Thank you.